Thank you for joining us for today's Exit Issues Breakfast with the Robbins Regional Chamber. Please turn your attention to the screen for an important message from our host, Houston Healthcare.
Houston Healthcare. We're recognized as one of the top hospitals in the state based solely on the advanced medical technology we provide. But what isn't taken into account is our people. We have over 2,000 employees that are focused, dedicated, and sincere in their mission to create a positive healthcare outcome for each patient. It just goes to show that maybe the most important aspect of great healthcare is the people who are taking care of you, and that just can't be measured. Houston Healthcare, advanced medical care, closer to home.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Michael Collins, 2024 Chair of the Robbins Regional Chamber Board of Directors.
Thanks, David, for clapping for me. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Exit Issues this morning. We have a lot of great content for you ahead of you this morning, so I'm going to make my comments brief. This morning, we not only bring our business community at large together, but we also have our 2024 leadership class in attendance with us this morning. So let's give them a round of applause. Give them a welcome. We can't do events like this, incredible events like this, loaded with content, without our sponsors. So I'd like to express how grateful we are for our ongoing support for our hosting sponsor, which is Houston Healthcare. We heard from them in the video at the top of our program this morning. We're also thankful for our long-term presenting series sponsor, Synovus. And now I'd like to welcome my good friend, Ron Weigel, to lead in the invocation and pledge and share a few words about Synovus and maybe a laugh or two. So listen.
Go on!
Hope I don't disappoint today. Hey, if y'all just stand with me for an invocation and pledge, give us an opportunity to center ourselves in prayer. Dear Lord, we come here to honor you. We're here to honor you and glorify you in all that we do. And we're so grateful for how you communicate to us in sending your Son and the sacrifice that he made. And the torn curtain where we have direct access to you. We're just so grateful for all that. You've bestowed us with many blessings in this community, all of which are represented here in some way, shape, or form, from the people in healthcare, our military, from our government, our elected officials, to just anybody that has a servant heart that comes together as a community. And so we ask continued blessings on our community and our people. I ask that that you tend to us, give us a soft heart for those in need, and give us a willingness to help each other, to love others just like we love you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Just join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank y'all. Y'all may be seated. This might be a minute. Just kidding. April, thank you. You know, look, I've said it once, I'll say it again. Thank you for this series. I'm grateful for it. You know, you can get information just about anywhere, but it's very difficult to get information as thorough on our community that touches everything in our community to the depth that you can get right here in this series. So April, thank you. Thank Orly and everybody at the chamber for that. And also, thank you for all you do in the business community. Y'all's advocacy means a lot. I know we're going to hear a lot about from the legislative side, so thank you. And when I'm talking about community, I guess, you know, my main point, before I hit you with a really good dad joke, my main point is we've been in this community for a long time, and that's thanks to our customers. So those that are customers of Synovus, we thank you. And I don't want to take anything for granted. Look, you know, sometimes you establish an account and then you don't do anything for a while. But what I want you to know is that there's lots of resources at the bank, and leverage them. You know, I would say that if you're a business owner and you need a loan, that's one thing, but maybe you're considering succession planning, maybe, you know, optimizing your cash flow is a priority to you, maybe figuring out how to optimize your capital structure is a big thing. If you're an individual who's trying to put somebody through college, you know, maybe there's some value in spending some time with somebody on our security side to determine how to get the best return to accomplish your objectives, or, you know, putting somebody through school, or if it's just as simple as how to save money for tomorrow. And then if you need a mortgage, and then, you know, if you need a mortgage, we have somebody here. So anything that touches your life from a financial perspective, we can help, and we want to help, and we have the right people to help for that. It's just a matter of having a conversation, developing what your needs are, and going from there. And so the last thing I'll say as it relates to that is that we have a really big passion for helping our community. And obviously, because of the industry we're in, we're focused on financial literacy and well-being. So what y'all may not see is us, like other community banks, other banks in the community, is that we want to take the opportunity to help our either companies, our teams, small groups, learn more about financial literacy. So if you see an opportunity where there's a need, please lever us. That's what we're here to do. So, thank you for allowing me to make those comments. And look, I'm going to tell you this. I'm a little disappointed in myself. I'll start with that. We have legislators up here. There's no way I was going to tell a legislative joke. Okay? How about this one? What did the llama say to his date? Want to go on a picnic? I'll pack a lunch. I knew that wasn't going to go. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks, Ron. You never know what you're going to get. Well, we are thankful for Synovus. They've been a great partner for us. And I'd also like to highlight our weather sponsor this morning, provided by Kim Hamlin and the Hamlin Group. So let's give them a round of applause. They made it a little too warm today, but we'll give them some slack. And our session sponsor this morning is Terracon. And so please help me welcome Tyler Garrison for some sponsor remarks this morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Like I said, my name is Tyler Garrison. I work with Terracon Consultants here in Middle Georgia. Previously known, and as many of you probably still refer to us as GEC. We do geotechnical and environmental consulting work, construction material testing, and normally when I tell people that, I get those same stares. Nobody really understands what that really is. So, easiest way for me to explain it is we want to be a full service consultant for you from the time that you want to develop a site to the time that building's built. So we want to go out before you start to develop your site, make sure there's no environmental concerns, make sure there's no cultural resources, wetlands, and also make sure there's no contamination from previous structures or anything around it. So we do that. We want to roll right into our geotechnical side, and the easiest way to explain that is we want to test what below the dirt to see what you can build on top of it. And then once you have that designed and ready to go, we want to help make sure to protect that investment that you have by doing the construction material testing and making sure that what was spec'd on the plans and in the specs is actually being put on the property. So as we do that, and as I was thinking about this last night, what I wanted to say, one of the things that Terracon uses a lot is a phrase we use is prosperous growth. And as I started to think through prosperous growth, that kept popping in my head, and I was thinking the reason is I think we see that phrase being played out here every single day in Middle Georgia and in this community, and partly because of the legislators. So we're excited to be a sponsor for this one today. We thank you for what you do to protect our community as well as help it have that prosperous growth. And we've got to be a part of a lot of the prosperous growth within the community for many, many years and get to see a lot of things develop and be used, and we just hope to continue that partnership. So we thank y'all for what y'all do, and we thank you, and if we can be of service, let us know. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. One of the most vital functions of the Chamber is to advocate for pro-business policy and legislation. And this year, our Public Policy Council, chaired by Colonel Don Lane, took a very active role in our session. And I personally hope that you felt more knowledgeable and engaged about the bills and the business concerning the business climate and competitiveness with our enhanced communication during this past session regarding pending legislation. And last Thursday evening, our Chamber Board and Public Policy members had an opportunity to host our local Georgia General Assembly members for an appreciation dinner, and we were excited to hear from them today. So please welcome, or help me welcome to the stage, our local state delegation, Senator John Kennedy, Senator Larry Walker, Representative Robert Dickey, Representative Shaw Blackman, and Representative Bethany Ballard, along with our Chamber President, April Bragg.
How are we doing? Everybody excited to be here today? First of all, I would be remiss if I didn't give you guys an opportunity as we start things out, just to thank our delegation for the hard work they did under the Gold Dome this session. Y'all join me in giving them a round of applause. So we all know that this is not their only job. We also know that during the time of the session is not the only time that you are giving to us in a leadership capacity as far as state legislation is concerned, but we are certainly grateful of the role that each of you plays in that space. And I'd like to just kick us off with kind of a general overview. I have heard this last year's session described as winds and whirlwinds. I've heard it described a number of different ways, and would just like to get a general sentiment from each of you without getting into any specific legislation about your take on the session. Just a quick little phrase or sentence or two.
Is this on?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good morning. It's great to be with you all this morning, and it's a great honor to serve Middle Georgia, serve Warner Robinson, Houston County, in Senate District 20. I want to start by saying there's not a better legislative delegation in the state of Georgia than the Houston County legislative delegation. These folks that I get the privilege of working with are all leaders in their respective bodies. They're all hardworking. We have great rapport with each other, great communication, and great teamwork. And we're working hard every day to move Houston County and Middle Georgia forward. So it's a real honor to get to work with everybody. They're either a vice chairman, chairman, or president pro tem. So you do have a strong team and bench of leaders representing you. This was my 9th session. It started off fast and furious, unlike any I've ever seen. It was the busiest session I've ever seen. These folks are working hard. A lot of times we don't even really see a whole lot of each other in the House Senate side, because we're also got our head down working hard, but, we know we got each other's back. So it was a real productive session. I think part of it maybe is because the 23 session, you had a new speaker and a new lieutenant governor, and everybody was kind of trying to find their footing. You also had the national championship, and you had an inauguration, and it got off to a really slow start in 23, and it wasn't as productive as I kind of would like to have seen it be. So we had a lot of stuff carry over from 23, so we immediately went to work in 24. So
Yeah, that's great.
that was too long.
No, but you summed it up. They may just say ditto.
Ditto. No, good morning. I'm John Kennedy, and I have the privilege of representing part of Houston County, and I am grateful to get to represent y'all. And April, thank you for this morning. Thank you for putting this together. It's a great chance for us to get to visit with y'all. I know y'all come to hear from us, but I promise you, as much or more, we really want to hear from you about what the issues are, what we did right, what we need to do more of, maybe what we did wrong, but also looking toward the next session. I would say, in describing 2024 for us, certainly on the Senate side, it was a little bit of finish the drill. And what I mean by that is we set a pretty aggressive, conservative policy objectives from the Senate side, from the majority caucus, Republicans in the Senate, for 2 years, for 23 and 24. And we passed some good legislation in 23, and our real objective this year in 24 was to finish the drill, to have good pro-business legislation, to make sure that we've got a great environment for businesses to continue to thrive. But as I tell constituents all the time, sometimes the best work that I do for you and the best work that the Majority Caucus does for you is stopping bad legislation as much as it is passing good legislation. And so I think we had a good year for that. And I want to echo what Chairman Walker's comments were. It is a real privilege to get to go to Atlanta with like-minded people that have the same principles and values. We maybe have a little different ideas from time to time on how we get to the landing spot, but we all agree on that landing spot. And when you have folks pulling all in the same direction, like the people you have doing that for you and the folks you see on the stage, it's a pleasure, it is more productive, and it makes it, it just makes it better for all of us. So I'll thank you for that.
Thank you.
Well, I won't rehash what my two senators just said. Very, very well said, y'all. But we did have a good session. It sort of reminded me the last few days I've been traveling around the state. The governor's been signing a lot of the bills that we passed, and it really makes me appreciate what we did get done, y'all. He's done agricultural bills in Valdosta early in the week, public safety bills yesterday in Forsyth, and he's doing education bills in Columbus today. And when you look back, I left Atlanta a little bit frustrated on some things. Real proud of some things, but frustrated that we didn't get some things across the finish line, but that's not unusual. And but when you look at it as a whole, it was a great, productive session that got a little bit busy, crammed in at the end. We are on a timeline up there, which is really positive. When you got a deadline, you get things done one way or the other. It gets a little messy. But we did have a great session, and I just say this is a great delegation. We help each other out a lot on legislation and issues up there. That's really, we got each other's back and got your back, really. Listening to you, as they said, I love the feedback. We need it from y'all, and some in this room is not shy about calling and letting us know what their thoughts are on things. And that's always welcome, I think, from all of us. So thank you for being letting us be here.
I'm Bethany Ballard, and I'm the new one up here. So I really don't have a frame of reference about how this session was, except for my first session, which was a little slow that first year. We had a lot of things to take care of before we got to the legislation. This year was really busy. But what I have come to know is that when I talk about our delegation and how we get along and how the chamber is so involved and we have such a good community that talks to us, and we don't fuss a lot in Houston County. Y'all might have a different perspective, but when you talk to people around the state, you will find out that we in Houston County as a community do not fuss with each other the way some places do. So we are very, very fortunate, and nothing that I got done this session would have been possible without our senators and we have a great relationship with them. We can always count on them to help us, get stuff, and hopefully they can count on us to get stuff done in the house for them. So we are so fortunate to live here.
I don't know if there's anything left to say. I would love to add to that. Always an honor and a pleasure to be with you. See so many different entities represented here that we communicate with and talk to, and we thank you for your engagement. That's our job, as you heard, is to listen. And I do think there are a lot of moving parts. We saw that last year. New leadership. We also had over 50 new members in both the House and the Senate. So a lot of things, a lot of people getting used to new positions, and we do have a very amicable relationship among our delegation members here. And even though it may not seem like that by the headlines, we really, might not have gotten everything done we wanted, but we got a lot of good things done, and I think we remain laser focused on the things that are important to Georgians and important to Middle Georgia in particular. Robins Air Force Base, our largest industrial complex, our healthcare community, our education system, agriculture, and workforce. We could go on and on. But again, look forward to the questions and appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was a great recap, and we appreciate all of your perspective. I know Senator Walker mentioned the leadership that we have, and their committee assignments are on the scrolling screens as the program goes on, and it truly is, we have a legacy of leadership here in Houston County that represents us and continues to lead. And you don't see that in every community, and I don't think we can foot stomp that enough. But the biggest thing that our legislature is mandated to do each year, whether they pass any other bills or not, is the budget. And so Representative Blackman, I want to start with you, and then others can chime in on budgetary highlights from this year's session.
Well, I leave a good bit to talk about there. Obviously, we saw fit to, raise the pay. We have the highest paid teachers in the Southeast now, another $2,500 a year. Our law enforcement got a $3,000 a year raise. All state employees, and then we bumped a number of things with regard to education, safety, literacy, the transportation within our system there. We added some infrastructure dollars, so we're going to spend a lot more upgrading our roads and bridges here in Georgia. I think, the list is long, and I know many people have things to talk about. I did want to specifically highlight, and again, I think, this emphasizes some of the things we accomplished this session to help with regard to our largest employer, and that's, Robins Air Force Base, and with some STEM Academy money that the governor and we in the Senate and the House worked to get in and hopefully keep in to match some local dollars to provide that pipeline with workforce as we move forward and we transition into a higher tech environment. So really excited about that. And it highlights, I think, the way that we work well with state and local governments kind of coming together to focus on the things that are important to Middle Georgia. I will also say, if I've not taken up too much time, that really proud that we've been able to work together to send over $5 billion back in one-time money to taxpayers. And
That deserves a round of applause.
And we're working at over, what will be a several-year period, close to another $5 billion in permanent tax reduction for taxpayers, and maybe specifics on that later. But thank you.
Very good. Other budgetary highlights you guys want to talk about that you were championing throughout the session? There's a lot of them on this list here. I don't want to read them for you all, so chime in.
Well, one of them, and I'll let my senators talk, but the Perry Agri Center, Fairgrounds, we got $22 million put in the budget for a new swine barn down there. Just really proud of what's going on down there, and had support of the entire delegation to get that done. If y'all are not aware of what's going on in Perry at the Agri Center, it's huge. They just did a economic study to reinforce some numbers that they've been using, and it was better than what they thought. It is so unbelievable the number of visitors and people and participants in that facility year round. It's not just a fair, it is horses, and every other kind of animal you can, believe, down there. And, young people across the state are really benefiting from that facility. They have a hotel going up that is not costing taxpayers one dime. And, the events there are just, so year round. So I'm just really proud that, our delegation is, supporting that facility. So that's one
I love it,
thing.
I love it, and that's a huge economic impact here with tourism and, all of the additional spending that comes with that. Other things?
So, the governor put in and we supported, 1.5 billion in new infrastructure money. We've got a growing state, a prosperous state. We've got to try to stay ahead or catch up on our highways and bridges and the port and that kind of thing. So we put 1,500,000,000 in new money for infrastructure. I hope Houston County is going to get a good chunk of that money. We do have some new roads and projects that we're working on. He also doubled the amount of what was like LMIG money for your counties and cities to resurface streets and pave streets. I think they did it through LARC this time, so there wouldn't have to be a local match. So that's going to help your cities and counties. Another thing that I think is significant, we put a lot of money into mental health. Like the rest of the country, we're seeing an increasing amount of mental health needs and crisis. Part of it is due to the opioid epidemic, but so a lot more money put into mental health. I've worked with Representative Danny Mathis to get some money to convert what was a shuttered RYDC facility in Eastman to be a processing facility for folks that are in the court system that have mental health issues, to determine if they are eligible to stand trial or if they're mentally capable of standing trial, to try to free up that backlog. One last thing is we want our schools to be safe, and we put in the budget of I believe it's $50,000, $45,000 per school in the continuation budget. So a permanent safety grant for all our schools, so that school districts can plan and know that that money's there year after year, so they can hire, if they want to, a school resource officer, or use it however they need to, as long as it's for school safety.
Thank you. They've done a good job talking about the overview of a lot of the work that we did on the budget this year, and I hope that's pleasing for y'all to hear. But just so you know, we're looking at the details as well. In addition to the tax cuts that Shaw talked about, we continue to roll back and reduce the income tax rate in the state of Georgia, and actually accelerated the path that we're on to reduce that to ultimately a 4.99%, assuming the economy continues to do well over the next few years. But two small details that are meaningful, and I'll share with you as well, is